Hey everyone, my name is Owen and welcome to this little cue breakdown for my cue Lux Locus that I created for Triumph's Audio newest sample library, Organ Obscura. So before we start tearing this cue apart, let's just have a quick listen and I'll see you guys later. So the first thing that I want you to pay attention to is the xylophone. The xylophone basically established that we're at a 5/8 time signature, and how I created that sound is basically using this xylophone sound. And then I have Napoleon's harpsichord. This one is a little bit different because I'm using the filter envelope to shape the sound and also using the step sequencer on the rhythm engine to trigger that ticking noise. I also do the same to the orchestral bell. Same thing as the Napoleon's harpsichord, I'm using the rhythm engine and also the filter envelope to create this plucky sound. And what's really cool about these two sounds is it's basically offset. And this is how they sound together. And now, if we unmute the silo, and now you have this composite rhythm going on and serves as kind of like the baseline of this whole cue to sit on top of. Cool. Now let's listen to Clucks of Joy, which is the main sound, the meat of the organ sound, especially for this cue. And it's basically playing mostly the melody and the chords. And also there is this main patch, which playing only the melody. And again, I feel like this sound is really nostalgic and really retro. The rest is basically just textures and different sounds that will fill the void when there is a whole note being held or there is some sort of pads or there is not much movement going on. Let's hear the first one, which is this grandma's organ sound. And I'm using a bunch of the amp envelope, like for example, the release here is pretty long to create that sound, and also playing around with the engine, with the chorus, reverb, and convolution to make it sound really huge and airy. For example, here, you hear how the grandma's organ kind of come into play when there is some sort of inactivity in the main melody. Then we have the piano and bass, which is not from the Organ Obscura way. And they're actually playing the melody. Even the bass is playing the melody. And we have the real bass coming from Organ Obscura, the pedal. There is some sort of sloppy quality to it, but I feel like it really adds to the overall charm of this cue. Also, now let's talk about the 5/8. In this part, you might feel like that's not a 5/8. What's happening here is I'm using the groups of 3/16 notes. So 3/16s, 3, 3, 3, and then 4, 4. If you add all of them, it makes a 10/8 bar. I think that's what's probably confusing at first. And also here, take a look at the modulation. Kind of taking you into a vibrato. Vibrato. And I feel like that just gives the sound a little bit of motion. Let's talk also about harmony. Lux Locus means a light room, and Organ Obscura, when I think about obscura, I'm thinking about the dark room. What I'm trying to achieve here is a contrast between lightness and darkness. So it's generally really bright and really quote-unquote major-ish. Then on the second time, and now minor, going back to the major, minor, major. So there is this little interplay between lightness and darkness, and I feel like the sound of the organ really complements that duality. So yeah, I hope you really like this little cue breakdown, and hopefully you learn a thing or two, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye.